Rachel was just 5 years old. She came from a wealthy family, as her father Jacob had a successful business. Rachel was the apple of her parents' eyes. Her father Jacob and her mother Grace showered her with love and affection. Their household was bustling with servants who looked after all the cleaning, cooking, and other chores. One rainy day, Rachel went on a drive with her parents. She sat in the back seat, watching the world go by outside. Through the rain-streaked window, she spotted a little boy sitting by the roadside, holding his younger sister close. The boy was struggling to cover them both with a flimsy plastic sheet, but the strong wind kept blowing it away, and they were getting wet. Rachel tugged at her mother's arm. "Mom, look at those poor kids. They're getting soaked." Grace looked out and nodded. "Yes, dear, they're poor, and sadly, this is the life they know." Rachel was puzzled. "But why, Mom? We have a big house, lots of cars, and they don't even have a roof." Grace sighed and explained, "Sweetheart, it's all about fate. We have what we have because of our luck, and they have theirs." Rachel frowned, thinking hard. "But, Mom, what is fate, and why does it give so little to some people?" Grace and Jacob exchanged glances and chuckled at their daughter's innocent question. Grace replied softly, "God gives everyone something, Rachel. Some people receive more, and some receive less." Just then, the traffic light turned green, and the car moved on. Yet Rachel couldn't shake the questions running through her mind. She kept looking out the window, noticing many people along the way who seemed to be struggling with very little. After a while, they stopped at a fancy hotel to eat. Jacob asked cheerfully, "Rachel, what would you like to eat? Order anything you want, and afterward we'll enjoy some ice cream." But Rachel shook her head. "I don't feel like eating, Father. Didn't you see those people by the roadside? They were hungry, getting wet, and here we are, eating at a big hotel." Grace looked at her daughter with concern. "Honey, that's just the way it is. They're poor and we can't do anything about it. If fate has money in store for them, they'll become rich one day too. You know, even your father didn't always have so much. He worked hard, and with luck on his side, we reached where we are today." "But can't we help some of them so they're not sad?" Rachel insisted. Jacob thought for a moment, then smiled. "All right, honey, let's enjoy our meal, and afterward we'll get some food packed. You can give it to those people yourself." Rachel's eyes lit up with happiness. After they finished eating, Jacob ordered extra food to be packed, and they returned to the place where Rachel had seen the poor families. By then, the rain had stopped. Rachel handed out food packets to each person herself. When she saw the little boy and his sister, she made sure to give them some too. The little girl reached out her hand toward Rachel, who instinctively moved forward, but Grace stopped her. Grace shook her head. "Rachel, what are you doing? Look at their dirty, wet clothes. If you touch them, your clothes will get messy. Let's go now." Grace and Jacob gently led Rachel back to the car. Rachel protested, "But Mum, I want to stay a little longer and play with them. That little girl feels like a sister to me." Jacob's tone grew firm. "Rachel, you're being very stubborn. Get in the car." Hearing her father's voice, Rachel quietly sat in the car, and they drove home in silence. When they arrived, Rachel went straight to her room, deep in thought. Later that night, Grace went to check on her. Rachel looked up at her mother with a frown. "Mom, rich people are selfish. They don't like the poor and keep all the money to themselves. That's why those people are suffering. Grace tried to explain, but Rachel had already made up her mind. She felt a growing resentment toward her parents and the wealthy people around them. Rachel's birthday was approaching, but she flatly refused to celebrate. Jacob went to her room one evening. "Is my little princess still upset with her daddy?" Rachel shook her head. "No, Papa, but I'll only celebrate my birthday if you let me invite those poor kids instead of rich guests. I want to play with them." Jacob hesitated. "Honey, that's difficult. We have our social circle and should mingle with people from our background." Rachel nodded sadly. "That's what I thought. I don't want to celebrate my birthday then because I don't like these rich people." Grace tried to comfort her. "Okay, how about we celebrate as usual, but during the day we'll take some cake and sweets to share with those less fortunate." But Rachel wasn't satisfied and began to cry. Seeing her tears, Jacob's heart softened. He sighed and agreed. "All right, sweetheart, we'll do it your way." Jacob booked a farmhouse outside the city, making all the necessary arrangements for food and drinks. On Rachel's birthday, he hired buses to bring all the poor families she had seen by the roadside. Rachel's face lit up when she saw them arrive. The boy and his sister were there too. Grace had bought new clothes for everyone, and Rachel's maid helped bathe the children, dressing them in fresh clothes. When they stepped out, everyone was surprised by how happy they looked. Rachel ran toward them, overjoyed, and started playing with them. The siblings joined in, and they all laughed and played together. After some time, Rachel cut the cake, sharing the moment with everyone, and then they all enjoyed a delicious meal. Before leaving, Jacob gave each family some money, and they blessed Rachel as they climbed back onto the buses. Seeing Rachel's happiness touched her parents deeply. From that day on, Jacob and Grace began helping those in need more often. They celebrated every festival and happy occasion with the people who needed it most. Rachel's innocent kindness had opened her parents' hearts to a new way of thinking,